from the ashes. Born 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 from the, born from the, born from the. Watch me rain.
Spawning in the top right as the first player up for Ris3n Amateur, it's Opaya. And in the bottom left, as the pink Zerg, it's the Tiny. I'm your caster this evening, Renegade. We're here with yet another Alpha Amateur match. Ris3n doing pretty okay this season. Going up against the Atlantic Canadian Starcraft Society. Saw them last week in Alpha Rookie. Let's see how they fare against Ris3n's amateur team.
Game paused.
And we have a pause. Okay, looks like Opaya's having a little bit of a frame rate issue. But each Alpha match is going to be a best of 5 Pro League format, so if you win the game, you score a point for your team. If you lose, well, you're done. You did 0 things. 0 points.
Game resumed.
With players going hatch first in the ZVZ. Opaya, moving out a couple of lings. Queen's finishing on his side of the map. But this Overlord's super vulnerable. This is kind of a mistake from Opaya, although the Tiny is also making the same mistake. Opaya just not really taking advantage of it. Okay, 4 lings come in here. Not enough to shut the Queen down, but maybe enough to delay. Get the over... Okay, now... Wow, 2 lings go down, but the Overlord does go down as well. Opaya forced to retreat here, and is going to be a little bit supply blocked. Three hatch for Opaya. Lingbane. Hitting the field. Evo Roachborn down for the Tiny. And all told, things pretty even on both sides. Interesting that Opaya using the Baneling Nest a little bit far forward as part of the wall. Tiny is farther back. This is a lot of lings. They can, of course, overwhelm the defense of Opaya, but well-placed Baneling hits can turn this in Opaya's favor. Okay. One pretty major hit, 2 misses. Queen gonna poke at this Overlord as the Tiny runs away. Opaya not gonna pursue the Overlord, though. Pretty big Baneling hit on the defense for the Tiny. Opaya's aggression should be deflected here. And the Tiny very slightly ahead in the worker count. It's not too terribly much to matter. Opaya's +1 is going to finish up first. 11 workers hit the field for a red Zerg as well. Both players going up to 51. Okay, 4 Banelings morphing in for the Tiny, and they're going to try and crash into this mineral line. Opaya going for his own move out, but Roach is on the defense for the Tiny. Alright, Opaya's gonna pull back. He does see these lings with the Overlord, but this is just to pull the army out of position as these Banelings go in. Maybe, I think. Yeah. One Baneling might go down before it hits the mineral line, and it... Oh, no, it's gonna connect. Actually, that's not the worst that could have happened. Only 6 drones for 4 Banelings. That's almost in Opaya's favor here. If you think about the larva cost, you know... Okay, so that's 2 larvae for the 4 lings. And then the gas for the Banelings. Yeah, I think it evens out or goes in Opaya's favor, actually. The Tiny taking a 4th base. Opaya gearing up for another push. Upgrades are slightly in favor of the Tiny with Roach speed finishing. But 13 seconds on that for Opaya. Bunch of lings go down early on in the engagement. Tiny going up to 75 army supply as he prepares to defend here. But I don't think Opaya is going to go all in. Both players just kind of poking at each other. No one wants to go for a timing. They're going up to this macro play. Tiny did invest into this 4th base, while Opaya invested in a much earlier +2, getting Carapace as well. The Tiny, meanwhile, getting a Hydra Den to go into lurker play. Army supplies are even. However, Opaya did not send all of his forces to this side of the field. He's going to lose quite a few units on the retreat. Still some lings rallied around, but Tiny is going to hug this 4th, so it will not be vulnerable. I mean, yeah, if the Tiny saturates this 4th, these lings shouldn't get the cancel on the hatch. Yeah. But they will split the Roach numbers up, and that means Opaya is going to be able to get a concave here, begin engaging effectively. Right as +2 finishes for him. He is at an upgrade advantage, and fighting these Roaches piecemeal, as long as these injured Roaches get more shots on, he might be able to swing equilibrium in his favor. 8 Roaches reinforcing, but they're not all fighting together. Some Ravager Morphins here from Opaya could really close out the deal, but it's looking very good for him. GG is called, and Opaya goes up 1-0 in favor of Ris3n. Next map will be Eternal Empire. Spawning in the top right as the blue Protoss. Next up for Ris3n Amateur, it's Rails. And in the bottom left, as the green toss for the Atlantic Canadian Starcraft Society, it's Observer. Okay. Rails going for an interesting location with this probe. I think we're gonna see a proxy. Standard double gate going down for both players. Rails a little bit crisper on this. Okay, he has pulled the probe in for a scout, siding against the proxy, at least for now, I suppose. It's going to be Stalker Sentry for both players. More defensive build. You know, double Stalker usually means aggression. Double Adept, which is rare, means harass. But we'll see what the follow-up sets of units are for both players. Rails going for the robotics facility, while Observer goes for a Nexus. Okay. It's gonna be an Immortal. Out of the Aggression Gamer. There's a shield battery. Look how cool that thing is, man. It's like multiple concentric circles. Hallucinated Stalkers going in for Observer. Okay, that's a new one. Rails has a probe position down in the bottom right corner. See if that gets up to any shenanigans. Observer going into Forge. Perhaps for a longer term macro play. Rails getting ready to take a natural, but this is looking an awful lot like an attack force here. Stargate for Observer in a pretty passive game. Actually, like a completely passive game from both players here. Robotics Bay for Rails. And yeah, we're not going to see action. Okay, so these Adepts are going to get a Stalker, but nothing else, really. Two of them get shot down. These guys might get a couple of probes. Let's find out. First shot goes on the Nexus. 2, 3, 4. No, they're gonna flash out. So 5 probes, decent damage, but remember, Rails also lost 2 of those Adepts there, so. Oh my god. Oh my god. With that, Observer's entire army evaporates. He has some more supply behind this, but an injured Immortal, 2 Phoenix, here's a second Immortal. Gonna have to do a lot with his shield batteries, a lot with his Warp Prism. Oh no, not even Micro on the Warp Prism! The first Immortal goes down. This Disruptor almost off of recharge, and it's trapped in the Force Field! Down goes the Immortal, 2 more Stalkers. Rails gonna pick off these Phoenix with the Sentry, it looks like, maybe, if he wants to. It doesn't really matter at this point. It's 3 Phoenix and a Dream for Observer. Rails going to gun down the Phoenix as they try to take down the Disruptor. The tank M Cannings winning Rails this game. Observer, despite his name, completely unprepared for Rails Disruptor play. Oh my god, right in the probe line, a half dozen disappear. Rails isn't even bothering with a macro back home. Just continuing to crash in here. That Disruptor grows ever closer to recharging once again. 3 Stalkers come down the ramp, but they have to face down 2 Immortals. Another Disruptor shot picks off even more probes. And Rails is just gonna recall. He's gonna take his W here and get farther ahead. Leaves the Disruptor behind, though. Feels bad. Just like that, we went from a pretty passive game, a little bit of Adept pressure, to Rails decimating the forces of his opponent. And it's going to be an uphill battle for Observer from here on out. Continuing Phoenix production, starting up charge. He cancels charge, decides to go for +2 ground weapons. Okay, cancels. Okay, now he's going for charge. Got it. More Phoenix in production for him as well. And, yeah. Would not want to be Observer right now. He needs to coin flip this, but Rails clearly has some great coin flip gameplay himself. Observer is going to have upgrade advantage as soon Okay. As soon as +2 finishes, but Rails is this is a terrifying Protoss death ball. Still ahead in workers behind this, and Observer going to try and establish a 5th, maybe? This is... I don't know, Kev. Rails dropping a proxy gateway. Believe it or not, losing that pylon is going to supply block him. So, Observer getting ready to defend here. Yeah, I mean, Rails is literally just going to A-move in here and totally destroy everything. Even that Disruptor survives because there isn't a second Phoenix. GG is called, and Rails takes Ris3n to a 2-0 lead. In the top left of Nightshade, it's College Wings. And in the bottom right, as the Red Terran, it's Osiris. Ris3n is up 2-0 in the best of 5 Pro League format match. So will College Wings be able to close this out, or is Osiris gonna give us a series, put a point on the board for the Atlantic Canadians? Okay, College Wings throws down a Cyber Core. Goes up to second gas. Really standard stuff for Protoss versus Terran. Terran getting a natural CC. College Wings could go a number of ways. He could do a 2-base play. Could go for his own 3rd base. But I'd expect at least moderately long game from these two players. College Wings also heavily favored in the MMR department. It looked like Osiris was around 4,200, something like that, so we'll see how this goes. Twilight Council for College Wings. Osiris going into Widowmine production, dropping the starport for a Widowmine drop. Blink on the way for College Wings. I mean, you can take a 3rd off this. You can also pressure the Terran. Osiris can I mean, it's not the most solid intel, but you can see the Stalker, you can see the Chrono Boost, as well as the production on the Twilight Council, and be like, okay, he's going to blink pressure me. So for now, Osiris burrowing the Widow Mine to the front and continuing Marine production. But if College Wings does blink pressure here, I feel like a Cyclone, some kind of factory tech, could be really useful. College Wings is taking a third behind this. Just shaving a little bit of health off the Widow Mines, but basically getting him a scout on Osiris's build. Double forge for College Wings, so though Blink is finishing, it doesn't look like he's gonna be getting too aggro with Osiris. College Wings also up 8 workers as Osiris goes through a third base. Now, Osiris does, of course, have mules, but I do favor College Wings in this situation. Osiris getting out a tank. And a Tech Lab on the starport. Interesting. Probably gonna get a rate. Nope. It's gonna be a Cloak Banshee play. Okay. Okay, Zoomer. Cloak is halfway finished. Let them go. They're like stock. Stocky. Okay, so College Wings, waiting for the Observer, is going to get high ground vision, meaning that these stalkers will be able to jump up to the high ground and try and deal with these tanks. But this is good tank positioning from Osiris. 2 shots go off, there's a third, fourth, and this is pretty much cleaned out. Nice hold from Osiris. That it required the most micro, but it was all about that tank positioning. College Wings in the meantime going for a 4th base. So I mean, sure, Osiris held the aggression, but this Protoss economy looking pretty scary. It looks like a few probes went down in the background. Osiris sending in the Banshee. There's the Cloak. I'm gonna shave off a couple more workers. He's gotta be like, oh man, this is a 4-base Protoss. How am I gonna do this? Cyrus building another CC. Still not moving this one out, though, as we approach the 8-minute mark. College Wings going to be pretty far ahead in the upgrade department, as +2 weapons and armor are about halfway done. Osiris, with no upgrades of his own, gets a couple more factories and gets an armory. College Wings with the Warp Prism, +2 weapons, +2 armor, ever nearing completion. And I mean, Osiris isn't threatening anything. He's just trying to establish his third base at the close to 9-minute mark. All right, College Wings going for the push out. Is he gonna wait for his upgrades, or is he just gonna... Okay, he's just gonna YOLO it, and it still might be enough. First tank falls. There's the blink forward, and down go the rest of the tanks. And GG, well played is called, as College Wings takes the series 3-0 in favor of Ris3n. Let's see if we have a bonus match or not. Okay, it looks like there's not going to be a bonus match. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Renegade, and I'll see you in the next one.
Born from the ashes. Born from the ashes. Born from the ashes.